Hello everybody and welcome to Slow Your Roll. I'm Cody, and today we're going to go through the top 3 things that I do to make my NPCs decently fleshed out in my game world. They're relatively simple, none of them are like groundbreaking, but they're the ways that I lay them out to make NPCs that seem like they matter in the world, and the players, end up liking them too, so that's good. So here we go. I'm going to give you the point that I think is important, a little description of it, and then like an actual in-game example, why it makes the game maybe better by having that NPC in it. So with point number 1, occupation. And this doesn't necessarily always mean job. It could just be like what the character is known for doing a lot. So what you want to do is when you introduce your NPC, you want to give the NPC's role or profession within the game world. Consider what they do for a living or how they contribute to society, whatever that looks like. They could be a cleric for this specific thing, whatever. So an example would be Thalgar, a blacksmith. Okay, he's a burly dwarf who runs the bustling forge in the heart of the city. His hammer strikes true, shaping weapons and armor for adventurers and guards alike. So the game world significance for this would be like Thalgar's occupation not only defines his daily life, so like where the players might find him casually, but also connects him to various factions. Players might seek his expertise for weapon upgrades or uncover a secret plot involving counterfeit swords in his workshop. Also, knowing that he makes armor and weapons for guards, maybe he's a friend of the guards, so the players could become a friend of the guards by being a friend of this guy. Things like that. So quickly, right there, point 1, occupation gives the players an in to get deeper into the game world that you've made. For number 2, we've got values and motivations. This one's really big. This will be the determining factor for how to improv an NPC in a lot of ways. If you know what the NPC likes, doesn't like, their motivations, things like that, the players might hit you with a specific question about this specific thing. Knowing the NPC's motives, you could be able to improv significantly easier. So you want to explore what drives the NPC, what they care about, their fear or desires, dig into their personal beliefs and goals, emotional connections, anything like that. Anything that you think might be fun to give the NPC, really. And doesn't have to be all of this. It can just be one small thing. For example, you've got an NPC, Lady Elowin. She's like a reclusive herbalist, values nature above all else. She seeks rare herbs to heal the sick and protect the forest from encroaching civilization. So the way this could play into your game world significance and make it matter is, let's say Lady Elowin's motivations drive her actions. Players might assist her in gathering herbs or uncovering her tragic past or whatever. It doesn't have to be that deep. But as long as it becomes obvious to the players, this lady is super into herbalism. She wants to protect the forest from civilization. Then immediately the players could find a way to maybe couple with their own goals because they know there's this tyrannical company that's trying to take down a village so that they can build some big city or something like that. That's going to be, I don't know, some corporational bunker, whatever, something like that. I don't know. And if the players already wanted to stop this guy that's trying to do that, then they could couple with Lady Elowin one way or another, maybe help her get her influence or powers with maybe her own allies. Maybe she knows a druid grove that would be really helpful that she could kind of connect the players with. The point is, values and motivations is a very easy way to flesh out an NPC even further than you actually have planned to start with. Point number 3 is going to be maybe the biggest and easiest one to start with even, and it's the behavior or identity. Basically, this is going to define how the NPC interacts with others. It's going to be their demeanor, speech, and quirks. For this stuff, you want to consider their body language, tone, or habits, or maybe even just something that stands out of them like a scar, or maybe they carry this ridiculously large shield as big as them, some silly thing. One specific thing that the players can latch onto and be like, oh, I know this person just based on how they act or what they look like. So a more in-depth example, maybe you say you've got this dude that's named Valen. He's like a captain. He's a grizzled war veteran. He stands tall and speaks in clipped sentences, right? So that's maybe you can start, he starts telling his stories about battles long past, but he quickly kind of just cuts himself off after he develops new thoughts, you know, something like that, whatever. And maybe more physical traits, like he's got a scarred face that reveals the lifetime of battles that he's had, and he sharpens his sword constantly, even like during conversations. Maybe it's a nervous tick, right? Any of this stuff will just be something that the players can kind of latch onto again and just be like, oh, this NPC feels like a living, breathing NPC in the game world. And this could always lead to further investigations deeper into the game world, where maybe this guy's telling stories and you can suddenly think of, oh, the players are going to this city next and there's a war going on there, and I know that. Maybe this captain can actually just spit in a little information about that, kind of get them hooked into that new plot hook that's coming up. But even more of like the game world significance, let's say Captain Valen's behavior reflects his military background, right? Players might seek his guidance specifically on tactics for something that's coming up, or just combat in general, or witness his loyalty to the king, or uncover a hidden vulnerability beneath his stoic facade. Depending on the type of players you have, you could always set this up so that the players maybe even have an opportunity to blackmail an NPC or something crazy like that. Basically, building out any fleshed out NPC is really only for the purpose of engaging your players deeper into the game world, giving them tools, like giving them more things that they can do. If you do this right, a fleshed out NPC can be a fantastic reward in the game for the players. I know you wouldn't necessarily think of an NPC as a reward, like normally you'd think like gold, magic items, some special feature or something like that. But an NPC and the way that they are being fleshed out and being noticeable by the players can actually be a reward to the player group for doing a certain thing or whatever else. But remember, really all these new elements that you might consider when making your NPCs, they're just going to breathe life into the NPC and into the game world, making them more than just quest givers or obstacles or random chance encounters. Your players, ideally, are going to remember Thalgor's soot-covered hands as the blacksmith, Lady Elowen's compassion as an herbalist, and Captain Valen's haunted eyes as a war veteran. These are all things that are now going to be memorable to your players, which can seriously flesh out your game more than you even realized it would. One more thing. One thing I've always kind of encountered is I put a little bit too much on myself when it comes to GMing in this sense. Not every NPC has to be this big fleshed out thing, but the ones you want to matter, you just hit these 3 points. Again, you're looking at occupation, values and motivations, and behavior. And this will instantly make an NPC much more significant in your game world. But again, not every NPC has to be this big of a deal. If you want it to just be a one-off NPC that they encounter on the road with very quick information, that's totally fine. But if the players start really investing into this random NPC you thought shouldn't matter, you can quickly refer to these points. What they do for a living or what they're known for, the things that they care about and despise, their values and motivations, and then just simple behavior tics or quirks. Instantly, you will be making a fleshed out NPC that your players can attach themselves to. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. If you did like it, please do like and subscribe or whatever, let us know. If you've got other things you do for NPC creation that you think is vital, please leave it in the comments. Always willing to improve, of course. But yeah, thanks so much for checking it out. We'll have more coming soon. See you, everybody.